So in the previous video we have just stopped at resolution of vector. So let A and B be any two non-zero vectors in a plane with different directions, and let A be another vector in the same plane. A can be expressed as the sum of two vectors, one obtained by multiplying A by real numbers and the other obtained by multiplying B by another real numbers. To see this, let O and P be the tail and head of the vector A. Then through O, draw a straight line parallel to A, and through P, a straight line parallel to B. Therefore, AO is equals to OP is equals to OQ plus QP. But since OQ is parallel to A and QP is parallel to B, we can see that OQ is equals to lambda A and QP is equals to nu B. Therefore, A is equals to lambda A plus nu B. We say that A has a resolve into two components vector lambda A and nu B along A and B respectively. Using this method, one can resolve a given vector into two component vectors along a set of two vectors. All the three lie in the same plane. It is convenient to resolve a journal vector along the axis of a rectangular coordinate system using vectors of a unit magnitude. These are called unit vectors that we discuss now. A unit vector is a vector of unit magnitude and points in a particular direction. It has no dimension and unit. It is used to specify a directions only. Unit vectors along the x, y and z axis of a rectangular coordinate system are denoted by I, j and k cap respectively as shown in figure. I cap, j cap and k cap is equals to 1. These unit vectors are perpendicular to each other, and in this text they are printed in bold face with a cap to extinguish them from the other vectors. Since we are dealing with motion in two dimension in this chapter, we require use of only two unit vectors. If we multiply a unit vector say n cap by a scalar, the result is a vector. Lambda is equals to lambda n cap. In general, a vector A can be written as A is equals to A cap, A n cap, where n cap is a unit vector along A. We can now resolve a vector A in terms of a component vectors that lie along unit vectors I and j. Consider a vector A that lies in xy plane as shown in figure. We draw lines from the head A perpendicular to the coordinate axis as shown in figure and get vectors Ax, A1 and A2 such that A1 plus A2 is equals to A. Since A1 is parallel to I cap and A2 is parallel to j cap, we have A1 is equals to Ax I cap and A2 is equals to Ay j cap, where Ax and Ay are real numbers. A is equals to Ax I cap plus Ay j cap. This is represented in figure 4.9c. The quantities Ax and Ay are called x and y components of the vector A. Note that Ax is itself not a vector, but Ax I cap is a vector. So Ay j cap, using a simple trigonometry, we can express as Ax is equals to A cos theta and Ay is equals to A sin theta. Now we have two ways to specify a vector A in a plane. It can be specified its magnitude A and the direction theta it makes with the x-axis or its components Ax and Ay. Therefore, if A and theta are given, Ax and Ay can be obtained using equation 4.13. If Ax and Ay are given, A and theta can be obtained as follows: Ax square plus Ay square is equals to A square cos square theta plus A square sin square theta is equals to A square is equals to A under root Ax square plus Ay square, and tan theta is equals to Ay upon Ax. Therefore, theta is equals to tan inverse Ay upon Ax. So far we have considered a vector lying in a xy plane. The same procedure can be used to resolve a journal vector A into three components along x, y, z axis. This is for 3 dimension. You can understand by yourself. Vector addition and analytical method. Although the graphical method of adding vectors help us in visualizing the vectors and the resultant vector, it is sometimes tedious and has limited accuracy. It is much easier to add vectors by combining their respective components. Consider two vectors A and B in xy plane with components Ax, Ay, Bx, By. A is equals to Ax I cap plus Ay j cap. So it is much easier to add vectors by combining their respective components. Consider two vectors A and B in xy plane with components Ax, Ay, Bx and By. A is equals to Ax I cap plus Ay j cap. B is equals to bx I cap plus by j cap. Let R be the there sum we have R is equals to A plus B. Ax I cap plus ay j cap plus bx I cap plus by j cap. Since vectors obey the commutative associative laws, we can arrange and regroup the vectors in equation as convenient to us, that R is equals to Ax plus bx I cap plus ay plus by j cap. Since R is equals to Rx I cap plus ry j cap, we have Rx is equals to Ax plus Bx, Ry is equals to Ay plus By. Thus, each component of the resultant vector R is the sum of the corresponding components of A and B. In 3 dimensions, Ax I cap plus Ay j cap plus Az k cap, B is equals to and R is equals to Ax plus Bx, Ay plus By, Az plus Bz. Okay. Now move on to next, which is motions in a plane. In this section, we shall see how to describe motion in 2 dimensions using vectors, position vector and displacement. The position vector R of a particle P located in a plane with reference to the origin of an xy reference frame is given by R is equals to xi cap plus yj cap, where x and y are components of R along x and y axis, or simply they are coordinates of the object. So here, suppose a particle moves along the curve shown by the thick line is at P at time t is equals to P dash at time t dash, then the displacement is delta R is equals to R dash minus R and is directed from P to P dash. We can write equation in component form. Delta R is equals to x dash I cap plus y dash j cap minus x I cap plus y j cap is equals to I cap delta x plus j cap delta y. Delta x is equals to x dash minus x and delta y is equals to y dash minus y. Same way we can find the velocity as well and instantaneous velocity as well, that is v is equals to limit delta t tends to 0 delta r upon delta t, that is dr upon dt. The direction of velocity at any point on the path of an object is tangential to the path at that point is in the direction of the motion. That is v is equals to dr upon dt is equals to limit delta t tends to 0 delta x upon delta t I cap plus delta y upon delta t is equals to j cap. I common limit delta t tends to 0 delta x upon delta t, j cap common limit delta t tends to 0 delta y upon delta t. So v is equals to I dx dt, j cap dy dt. Similar way we can find the magnitude of velocity v is given by v is equals to under root vx square plus vy square, tan theta is equals to vy upon vx, therefore theta is equals to tan inverse vi upon vx. Similar way we can find the acceleration as well. Acceleration is nothing but the derivation of the velocity. And here are some of the graphs which the average acceleration for 3 time intervals delta t1, delta t2, delta 3t. In the limit delta t tends to 0, the average acceleration becomes the acceleration. Note that in 1 dimension, the velocity and the acceleration of an object are always along the same straight line. However, for motion in 2 or 3 dimensions, velocity and acceleration vectors may have any angle between 0 degree and 180 degree between them. Motion in a plane with a constant acceleration. Suppose that an object is moving in xy plane and its acceleration a is constant over an interval of time. The average acceleration will equal this constant value. Now let the velocity of the object be v0 at time t equals to 0. A equals to v minus v0 upon t minus t0, that is v equals to v0 plus at. And same way we can prove some another examples, which is the kinematic equations. Motion in a plane can be treated as 2 separate simultaneous 1 dimensional motion with constant acceleration along 2 perpendicular directions. Next is relative velocity in 2 dimensions. The concept of relative velocity we introduced in 3.7. The motion along a straight line can be easily extended to included motion in a plane or in a 3 dimension. So VAB is equals to VA minus VB and VBA is equals to VB minus VA. Therefore VAB is equals to modulus of VBA. Next is note carefully the difference between this example, that is 4.1. The boy experienced the resultant of 2 velocities, while in this example a woman experienced the velocity of rain. Projectile motion is an application of the ideas developed in the previous section. We consider the motion of a projectile. An object that is in a flight after being thrown or projected is called a projectile. Such a projectile might be a football, a cricket ball, a basketball, or any other object. The motion of a projectile may be thought of as the result of two separate simultaneously occurring components of motions. One component is along a horizontal direction without any acceleration, and the other along the vertical direction with constant acceleration due to the force of gravity. It was Galileo who first stated this independency of the horizontal and the vertical components of the projectile motion in his dialogue on the Great World System. In our discussion, we shall assume that the air resistance has negligible effect on the motion of the projectile. मतलब यहाँ पे हम क्या कर रहे हैं, we are having find the motion like this way. जब हम किसी बॉल को थ्रो करते हैं तो उसका मोशन क्या है वो हम फाइंड कर रहे हैं. So here this is the motion. If we take initial position to be origin, x0 is equals to 0, y0 is equals to 0, x is equals to v0 t, that is v0 cos theta 0 t, y is equals to v0 sin theta 0 t minus half gt square. So equation is vx is equals to v0 cos theta 0 and vy is equals to v0 sin theta 0 minus gt, gives the x and y coordinates of the position of the projectile of at time t in terms of two parameters, initial speed v0 and projection angle theta 0. So theta is equals to tan inverse vy upon vx is equals to 0. Equation of path of a projectile. So this can be seen by eliminating time between the expression of x and y. So y is equals to tan theta 0 x minus g upon 2 v0 cos theta 0 whole square x square. Now since g, theta 0 and v0 are constants, is of the form y is equals to ax plus bx square, in which a and b are constants. This is the equation of parabola. The path of projectile is a parabola. Time of maximum height. So this will be time of maximum height is how much time does the projectile take to reach the maximum height. So let this time be denoted by Tm. Since at this point Vy is equals to 0, we have from equation Vy is equals to V0 sin theta 0 minus G Tm equals to 0. Tm is equals to V0 sin theta 0 divided by G. The total time Tf during which the projectile is in flight can be obtained by putting y equals to 0 in equation. Tf is equals to 2 V0 sin theta 0 divided by G. Tf is known as the time of flight of the projectile. We note that Tf is equals to 2 Tm, which is expected because of the symmetry of the parabolic path. Next is maximum height of a projectile, and this will be the last topic is uniform circular motion, which is the most IMP topic of this particular chapter. Okay, so we will just stop here. In the next video we are going to start with maximum height of a projectile motion. Thank you.